Brenda Braxton here in the KGW newsroom. Want to show you a live picture of smoke rising into the air after some kind of natural gas incident and explosion at Northwest 23rd and GLISAN. It has shaken buildings all around that area. Again, this happened probably within the last 15-20 minutes. The fire has gone to 3 alarms. We can confirm that to you as we look out live from this tower cam at that huge plume of gray-black smoke.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. You know, I'm a big building and everything shook, and I had no idea what it was. So I looked outside and saw everyone coming out of their buildings trying to see what was going on. Right now from the building, I can see a lot of smoke. It looks like the flames have subsided, at least from what I can tell. The smoke has turned a lighter color at the moment. I've seen and heard a lot of fire trucks driving by, police cars coming by. It's just crazy. It looks like they have Northwest 23rd blocked off at Burnside right now as well. I don't know if you can hear the fire trucks outside the window right now.
We want to dip into some live coverage from KGW's Kyla Boshi. He is on Facebook Live this morning, and he is in that area.
We don't know what led to this explosion, what caused it. All we can tell you at this point is initial reports of some kind of explosion in northwest Portland. We can hear sirens in the distance as crews arrive. Here comes another. Initial reports suggest a couple of firefighters may be injured. We don't have that confirmed at this point. We can tell you, though, medics are responding quickly, and that plume of smoke still remains.
When this call first came in now within the last 30 minutes or so, it came in as a gas leak. And later, the fire department did confirm to us that it was some kind of natural gas incident. What type of scene did you come across?
A lot of people very confused. I saw one lady getting some medical help. Firefighters were already blocking off the scene, and lots of police and fire vehicles racing down the street.
But again, the latest that we're hearing from Northwest Natural Gas, it was responding to a damaged gas line with Portland Fire when this explosion happened. However, they had already evacuated the building that they were working on.
Just moments ago, I saw a firefighter walking for his own power, but he did have blood all over his face, appeared to be injured as a result of this explosion. Again, he looked to be okay. He didn't need any assistance in walking to the ambulance, but he's now being treated. Had a bandage over the top of his head, and obviously a fair amount of blood on his face. So clearly there has been at least one injury. We have unconfirmed reports of other injuries involving firefighters responding to this gas leak. If you've ever been in Northwest Portland, you know 23rd is very busy with retail, also some residential here as well.
It is a mixed-use building with condos and retail, including a salon, perhaps the bagel shop, and a spa. There are at least 60 fire and police units on scene. But again, when we went on the air, it was a 3-alarm fire. It has escalated, so they are trying to get more units in there to help put this out. One of our producers here has also slipped me a note. And it says this. It says, spoke with the company that manages the apartment building with all the blown out windows. They said they heard the explosion came from the bagel shop next door. We do not know about any injuries. We'll continue to, feed you pieces of information as soon as they come into us. We are hearing from Portland Fire right now that there are no fatalities, that 3 firefighters and 2 civilians have been injured in this.
Right after that explosion happened, there were multiple calls for assistance to firefighters. It sounds like they had already removed most of the civilians out of the building at that time. So our assumption is that those civilians were out. We're still getting those details.
Everybody's been accounted for that you know of?
That's correct, yes.
The firemen came in and evacuated the shop about 20 minutes before the explosion. So to the best of my knowledge, with the exception of somebody getting hit by some flying glass, I don't think anybody else has been hurt.
Well, we just want to say we really care about the community, and we apologize for this inconvenience, and we have never had an incident like this in this area before, and so we are on top of it, and safety is a priority.
We also have some video of a before and after. So clearly on the left, that's what it looked like prior to 9 o'clock. And that on the right is what it looked like after this natural gas explosion.
And then I ran out, and it was like insane. It felt like a bomb had gone off. I mean, literally, that's basically what happened with the gas leak, and people were screaming, and I just ran.
On the left of your screen, you're looking at Sky 8. That used to be a 3-story building that they're putting water on, and now it's just splintered into oblivion. They actually cannot get to all the hot spots because of all the debris on top, so they're going to have to bring in some heavy equipment. It is en route. It should be there, you know, maybe within the next 30 minutes or so, hopefully, so they can start moving things and actually put out the flames.
Mayday, mayday. Go ahead, we're getting the mayday on tap out. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Everybody. Dispatch manager, go ahead and give me a greater alarm, please. We're going to... Emergency transmission from engine 3. Dispatch from command, I need a greater alarm started. I'm going to need go ahead and start me a second and then a third. We're going to need multiple Copies the upgrade. Command, we need a ladder to access the building here, right on the corner, northeast corner here. We got a woman here. Okay, dispatch from command. Dispatch from command. Go ahead and start me greater alarm. Actually, start me 2 greater alarms. I'm going to need 2 strike team ambulances started to this location. We have 1 firefighter down across the street at the corner from the apartment. Stay right there. Bring your stretcher up. We have a firefighter down right here at the intersection. Bring up your stretcher and backboard.
Our source says that one of the injured firefighters covered another injured firefighter with his body when a secondary explosion went off. Wow. The hero firefighter is doing well and has non-life-threatening injuries. I know as things settle down and as they get control of this fire, we will certainly be hearing many stories of heroics.
The firefighters putting water on a twisted wreck of a corner building here. It is devastation at 23rd and GLISAN. It is a real mess. You see that Jeep over here that's on 23rd. The building there just to the north of us, totally gone. That fell down on that vehicle there on the curb. The mayor's right here, and Mayor Hales, you've just been in there and seen this. Your initial reactions?
It's a scene like none other that I've ever seen. I was fire commissioner back in the 90s, and I certainly saw some big fires, but nothing this terrible in terms of how sudden it was and how much damage it's done to people's lives and to the whole neighborhood.
This is KGW News at 5.
We heard a very loud boom.
A series of natural gas explosions level a northwest Portland building.
We have 1 firefighter down.
Leaving 2 firefighters with broken legs.
It was really scary for that time when I was running, because I remember there being a fireman in the road that looked injured and people like screaming and terrified.
But heroes got everyone out of the buildings before the biggest blast.
People were screaming, and I just ran.
Businesses and homes are destroyed.
It's a scene like none other that I've ever seen.
But no one lost their lives. Good evening and welcome to our continuing coverage of the gas explosion in northwest Portland. I'm Joe Donlon.
And I'm Tracy Barry. Really an exceptional day here in Portland, where a natural gas explosion rocked part of northwest 23rd this morning at GLISAN, leveled 1 building and certainly damaged many others. I think the top headline, though, no lives lost.
Right. And you can see this building that was on the corner of 23rd and GLISAN before, and then after, it's gone.
The initial reports came in as a gas leak. Minutes later, a massive explosion rocked northwest Portland.
There was a gigantic, like, kaboom, and it shook my apartment. over there.
The blast blew out windows and sent glass flying.
Glass exploded out of all of the bottom level while we were walking down, and we basically covered and then ran.
From Sky 8, you can see the devastation at Northwest 23rd and GLISAN. The explosion destroyed one building and damaged several others.
Now we have no building. So it's a lot to take in.
Witnesses say construction crews hit a gas line while working on a nearby project.
Yeah. You can smell, apparently the gas is prevalent all over the streets.
When firefighters arrived, they told everyone in a nearby building to evacuate.
They just said, all right, guys, gotta get out right now, and we all ran out.
Minutes later, the building exploded. Firefighters were still inside. This was their desperate radio call for help.
Mayday, mayday,
Go ahead, we're getting the mayday on tap out.
mayday, mayday.
Dozens of firefighters, police, and medics raced to the scene.
We have one firefighter down across the street at the corner from the apartment.
This cell phone video shows a second explosion.
Push down next block.
As police pushed everyone back. Witnesses say it was like a scene from a movie playing out in Northwest Portland. So again, the latest count, 8 people were injured in total here, 3 of them firefighters, 2 police officers. None of those injuries are life-threatening.
We're hearing all the people taken to Legacy Emanuel Medical Center have been treated and released, except for one firefighter who is left still being treated here. We just spoke with an emergency room doctor at Legacy Emanuel. He says they were prepared as soon as they heard about the blast. Doctors, surgeons, nurses, their whole team was on standby, ready to help injured civilians and first responders coming from the scene.
They're obviously risking their lives every day, taking care of us in the community. And so in any instance like this, we want to make sure they get excellent care because they're risking their lives to take care of any other civilians at the scene. And so they obviously deserve to get very prompt and aggressive attention.
He was right there when the explosion happened, and wait till you see where it sent him. He ended up hurting his leg a little bit, but it wasn't enough to stop him from getting back up and continuing helping others.
A lot of the debris has been removed from the side of the building.
Battalion Chief Scott Byers was among the first to respond to Northwest 23rd and GLISAN minutes before the natural gas explosion. He walked up and down the street, making sure shops were closed and employees out. Then he reached Pizzicato.
I just came up to the door to check it, and it was locked, and this door on the left is the one I was holding on to, and that's when I heard something happening behind me, and all of a sudden the explosion occurred, and it just pushed me into right over the top of that door into the center of the room there. I didn't feel like I was hurt, and I started hearing the mayday calls, so I got back up and came back out here to see what I was going to look at.
Across the street, Byers saw 2 firefighters badly hurt after the force of the blast threw them 50 feet.
This fence that's pushed down, that's where the firefighters, as I came out of the building, were up against that, and that's where they were tending to them.
Then Byers and Lieutenant David Woodhouse saw something they could hardly believe. A woman standing atop the pile of burning rubble where, just seconds before, a building had stood.
We needed to get her right away because the fire was just coming up right behind her. The smoke was getting increasing and becoming hard to see her. So we didn't have much time to react. We had to couldn't wait for the ladder. We just needed to get to her. And so we just started climbing up the pile to her and waved her down at the same time.
Byers says 3 firefighters were treated at the hospital. One of them is still recovering after surgery. The end of a day that could have ended so much differently.
Today we were very lucky that we didn't lose somebody.
We have a lot more on today's explosion on KGW.com tonight. You can read the latest updates anytime, watch video and photos from the scene, and hear from residents and businesses in the area.